Do you think you're too old to become a professional photographer? Let's talk about aging and photo careers on today's episode of
Ask David Bergman.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. Here I am, as always, answering your photography questions right here on Adorama TV. If you've got a photo question, you should know what to do by now. Just head over to askdavidbergman.com and fill out the form on that site. I just might pick your question to answer right here on a future show. Today's question was sent in on that very site by Mike R., and he wants to know, what advice would you give to a person over 50 who wants to change careers and become a photographer? Well, thanks, Mike, for sending that in. It's a really good topic and an interesting one to talk about. You know, in the old days of 30 or 40 years ago, people would pick a career in their teens and sometimes even commit to a single company and then stay with them for their entire working lives. As we know, the world, of course, is different today. For better or worse, it's a gig economy now with so many people freelancing or changing careers completely, sometimes multiple times throughout their life. Now, everyone is different, of course, and there's no right or wrong way to do it, but there's really no more stigma around starting over, and so many people put a priority on quality of life instead of simply making a living, even if they don't figure that out until their 50s or later. Now, I know I only look 29 years old. Stop it. But I've actually been a professional photographer for nearly 35 years now. My path is a bit different from someone looking to jump into this field later in life, but I think that I can speak about it with some confidence. Now let's start by talking about the challenges of becoming a professional photographer, the first one being the physical demands of the profession. Now, there are definitely some specialties that make this pretty much a young person's game. Some types of sports photography, for example, are quite physically challenging. I used to run up and down the sidelines at football games in the rain and snow, and I'd walk sometimes 36 holes for 4 or 5 days straight, covering golf every single week. Now, some other sports like basketball or baseball might involve less running around, but the gear is still really heavy. You might be using a 400-2.8 or a 600mm f4 lens while also carrying a 24-70 and a 70-200 zoom. And the hours, well, they can be really long. I've photographed 5 Olympics, and while it's the ultimate gig for any sports photographer, it's kind of like covering 3 Super Bowls a day for 21 days straight. You're lucky then to get 4 hours of sleep a night before running out to catch the media shuttle before the sun comes up. Now, most photographic specialties actually involve heavy gear and long hours. Studio photographers, for example, might deal with lots of lighting and grip gear. Wedding photographers are on their feet all day carrying multiple bodies and pro lenses. Even landscape photographers might have to hike to remote locations with tripods and extra supplies. Sure, the gear is getting lighter, but it's not like just snapping a few pictures with your cell phone. Now, the other aspect to consider is, will you actually get hired as a photographer after 50? Ageism is definitely a thing, not just in photography, of course, but in most professions. Some potential clients might be reluctant to hire an older photographer because they can get somebody younger for less money. Or maybe they just think that the older photographer is going to cost them a lot and going to be too expensive or out of their budget. Now, there's also the perception, fair or not, that young photographers are more creative. They might be more willing to embrace new technology and are in touch with modern trends. Young photographers might also be willing to work longer hours and can commit to more years with a company. Older people tend to have things like, families and lives outside of work and might not be willing to make that many sacrifices for the job. Now, these are real concerns, and whether they're true or not, it's probably something that a client is going to consider before picking a photographer for the job. But having said all that, here is the good news. 50 is the new 30. Stay with me here. It's not really as old as it used to be. I'm still carrying a lot of gear around, walking tens of thousands of steps every weekend on a stadium concert tour, and staying up crazy late to edit photos. I love it, so I'll do whatever I need to get the shot. And I know plenty of working sports photographers who still run up and down the sidelines just like their younger counterparts. People over 50 have a wealth of life experience that younger photographers simply don't have. And if you're changing careers, your years of experience in other fields give you a unique perspective and valuable life skills. The ability to recognize and tell a good story, along with a mature attention to detail and useful people skills, all of these things are going to shape your style and your approach to your photography. Older photographers have a different perspective on life that younger ones might not, and you can use that to tell stories through your photos that resonate with a broader audience. If you focus on niche areas or passion projects that highlight your experience and interests and build a strong portfolio that showcases your unique perspective, you're going to be way ahead of the game. A well-defined personal brand that reflects your voice and style can help you stand out and attract the best clients for you. In addition, you probably have some business skills that a younger photographer might not have. If so, you're going to know how to negotiate a good deal and when to walk away from a bad one. Age is not a hurdle, it's an asset. So practically speaking, here's my advice for you, Mike. Don't feel pressured to go all in immediately. Of course, there are financial considerations when starting a new career at this stage in life, so if possible, don't quit your day job. Be realistic about your costs and understand that you probably won't make much money in the beginning. Have a plan in place to manage your finances, especially if you're transitioning from a more stable career. A couple of years of savings in the bank will absolutely ease the burden quite a bit for you. Now, obviously, Adorama has everything you could possibly need as far as gear goes, and you can use my link down below to go to the site. I'd also recommend investing in education, whether it's online courses, workshops, or just joining a local photography club. Even if you're familiar with the basics, there's always something new to learn, especially as technology evolves. Start looking for freelance work while working on personal photo projects at the same time. And don't forget about your network. By now, you probably have a decent-sized collection of friends, family, and former work associates. People like to work with people they know and trust. You can lean on these contacts to help you get jobs, especially in the early stages. Try your best to stay motivated throughout the ups and downs of a career transition. It might be easy and fun in the beginning, but you'll hit a plateau, I promise you will, and all of a sudden it's going to be hard work. Rejections are part of the process, and don't let them discourage you. Keep reminding yourself why you're passionate about photography, be persistent, and stay focused on your goals. The photography industry is constantly changing, so continue to be curious and adaptable to new technology, tools, and trends. Consider how you can leverage new media platforms like social media, blogging, and even video content to showcase your work and reach a broader audience. This is going to help you stay relevant and inspired so you can compete with those youngsters. Now look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Starting from scratch as a photographer over 50 is not easy. Any career change is challenging, and photography is tough at any age because there are more people in the business now than ever before. Even if you don't turn it into a successful career, photography can still be an incredibly satisfying hobby. But if you can't imagine doing anything else, then go ahead and follow your dreams. It's never too late to pursue your passion. Enjoy the process, the experimentation, and the new experiences that come with this career change. Photography is an art form that absolutely benefits from life experience, and at 50 plus, you have a wealth of that to draw on. Go out there and show those kids how it's done. I want to hear from the more experienced photographers out there. Did you start your career later in life? Let's let Mike hear your stories, so post them down in the comments below. And if you have your own photo questions, you know what to do. Just go to askdavidbergman.com and submit that question. If you enjoyed this video, I do appreciate you hitting that like button, subscribe to the Adorama YouTube channel, and ring that bell icon to get notified about new videos when they come out. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back here next time with a brand new question right here on Ask David Bergman.